Hello everybody, welcome back to NewCity. I have made it further than I have made it before. And so in this video I just want to show that off. Maybe I'll get into a little bit more of how I got here. Try and give some more tips and tricks on how you can get this far if you so desire. One thing, I've been watching a lot of the other users on the Discord channel sharing their pictures and screenshots, and they are much more creative than I am. They have used the generated maps and made cities that look very realistic, whereas I'm going about this in a masochistic scientific method of just seeing how big I can get things, how dense I can get the simulation, and how I can optimize things. If you don't need an Excel sheet for your video game, I'm not interested. So this is the fourth iteration. It looks very familiar if you've seen the other video of my city getting to 600,000. This one I built from scratch. This is not a continuation of that one, and I'll show you the differences that really have made the difference. So let's give it a look. You'll notice it does start, the frames do start to drop a little bit once you look at the city from pretty far back, but not nearly as bad as before, and I will show why. But this city is very similarly designed. It's all based around this diamond traffic circle, traffic square pattern. The city is broken into three districts. You've got your agricultural, you've got your industrial, and then your residential. And the commercial and office is scattered about within the residential area. If you look at the whole map here, I've still got plenty of space to grow, yes. Although I appear to be reaching some limits of performance here. I'm not sure that I'm really going to be able to fill the whole map, but a boy can dream. When I started this city out, I started with this pattern here, maybe 2 or 3 wide and maybe just 1 or 2 deep. And each one of these will actually pack in dang near 1,000 people into each section of the residential pattern here. And then I just mirror them one on top of the other. Similar to the other map, the advantage here is that I don't have any intersections. The traffic can just flow without hitting a stop sign or a stoplight. There is one intersection here, however, the traffic can easily route around that through these directions that I'm not describing but pointing to with my mouse. Then when I first started, I just had the residential, and then I skipped over these sections to get to the agricultural, because when you just start out you don't need any industrial. But then I filled in the industrial, and when I did that, I did not have this little T intersection in the middle of the industrial, because when you first start, your industrial is less dense, and the buildings that spawn in just the vanilla game, unless you've created a bunch of your own custom models that are different sizes, you'll probably run into the same thing, where at low density the industrial buildings are much larger, and so they can't really fit in as densely as this. However, once your density gets to a certain point, the industrial buildings become smaller, and you can add in these little T's here to fit in more industrial into the same space. The previous iterations of this city, I had gone with different sizes of the grid for your residential, your industrial, and your agricultural. But with this one, I just stuck with, if we call these the small grid squares, we'll just call them that. 10 by 5 is really the default building block for both residential and agricultural. The industrial, I went with 6 by 10. That way I could get this road in and have 3 small grid squares equal on either side. And then I've got another traffic square, traffic diamond in the middle here. So again, on all sides of your industrial space, there's no intersections. There's an intersection here, but I haven't noticed that causing any problems. Same with the agricultural. There's no intersections anywhere out here in the agricultural space. And so that has really kept the truck traffic down, which became a problem once I hit 600,000 in the other city. One very cool and intimidating thing happened with that particular video. Lone Pine, the creator of this game, commented stating that once you get to that large of a city, you really need transit, public transit being buses or trains. I had a couple of bus lines, but I hadn't put a lot of thought into how to do that. But taking his comment seriously, I considered that. I did some experimenting with how to lay out transits, specifically trains, and came up with what long story short, the dude was 100% right. It is night and day with how transit has affected the traffic in this city. So I'll get to that in a second, but I just want to show off some of the new stuff that's come out in NewCity. The last video I made, I was just fanboying about all the new designs and the new features that have come out, but I've had a chance to spend some real time with them, so I can show you some of the really cool ones. One, this is the new shopping mall. This is just a default design. I didn't make any changes or additions here. This will spawn if you leave enough space in a dense enough commercial zone. And look at that. He's got a roach coach in the parking lot, a cop car, parking lots. This was when I really got into playing the game. We didn't have any parking lots in the models, so that's ridiculously cool. There are a bunch of custom building designs scattered throughout here. This is one. This was Dr. Lad from Discord, does amazing work creating building designs and gets a bit of credit in the Discord, but hats off to you, sir. You make some awesome buildings. And I'm sure you will recognize a number of your designs throughout the city here. Here's another one. This is a pretty big apartment complex. You can see this spawning in the fringes of the high density area. It just looks super cool. You can see these apartment complexes starting to pop up as the density starts to spread outwards from really the hub of everything in the middle of the city. I went with the same university layout. You can see it fits in okay with the overall pattern. It's not completely symmetrical. There's one extra small grid square worth of space on this side as opposed to this side. When I did it last time, I was making the assumption that I could add more fancy dorms and that would add more university students. That doesn't appear to be the case. In previous versions of the game, once you built all of the schools the university offered, that was all the university students you got, and you just had to deal with it. Recently, in one of the updates, they came out with a graduate school, which gives you more university graduates, and you can build those. They have a density requirement, so you can't just place them anywhere in the city, but they will give you more university students, and that can help with filling your offices and commercial spaces with people with bachelor's and graduate degrees. So what you might see, this area here, this is a really dense area. This is it was the center. Everything started with these two squares here and these two squares of agricultural. When you first start out, you need a lot more agricultural. You end up with more area dedicated to agricultural than you do anything else by quite a bit. But once you get to a certain education and density level, you can see I've residential is outnumbering everything else by quite a margin. And I have no issues with employment. My unemployment rate is right about 0 right now. So there's still several dozen thousand open positions. So it is interesting how many jobs they can pack into that much space. Anyway, if we look in the dense areas, you can see we're 8, 9. I think there may be some very small pockets of 10 density. And what I'm looking at here, I'm on the density heat map, and you can mouse over and it'll show you what's under your cursor, the density of that particular area. 10 is the max, and each little square there represents an integer number. I'm pretty sure they have fractions in the simulation, but it only represents that in whole numbers here in the squares. The designs that come with just the vanilla game, once you get to having big, large sections of very high density, there aren't a lot of building designs that will spawn. And so what I ended up with was just this huge section of buildings like this that all looked very similar, and they weren't very tall, and the office buildings that were spawning right next to them in the same density were quite a bit taller and looked much cooler. So I wanted residential buildings of similar height, maybe not quite as high, but of similar height. So I designed, you can see there are 1, 2, 3, I think there's four or five different 8 and 9 density requirement residential buildings that I designed, and they've spawned here. Now, lesson learned about these, and depending how much time I end up with on this video, maybe we'll experiment with it. I made these exactly 1 by 2, and in the building designer it gives you dimensions of the space your building is taking up, and I thought it would be cool just to have that right at 1 by 2. Well, they end up spawning just right next to each other, and it looks like this big square of buildings, which, to be fair, there are some areas of Manhattan that don't look too dissimilar from this, but I don't know, it would have been cool if I'd given them a little bit more variety, or had some I should have just made more buildings, and I will. But that's one place where there just aren't that many very tall residential building designs. So if you feel like making some, post them on the Discord, and I'll add them in here, and we'll get them spawning. And then if you like my building designs, let me know. I'll post them in there as well. didn't put a whole. This one's pretty cool, I think. Maybe that one's worth sharing. This one was literally like, it's a square. That's it. Nothing like a 52-story square or something. So no rocket science there. This one is the exact same thing, but with a pool on the roof. Because nearby where I live, there were some very cool apartment buildings with pools on the roof that were way too expensive for me to live in. So wishful thinking there. Let's see. So now on to the the reason this city is working so well and the reason I was able to get it here, that is transit. So let's look at our transit view, and you can see what's going on here. Each one of these lines is a train line. There are, I don't know how many. Each one of these is a straight section of track. They don't, all the trains just go, there's a train that goes, I've been calling this direction west, this direction east, north, south. So there's a train that goes west and a train that goes east on the same double line. So how's that work? So if I look in here, now if I want to lay down some train line just to kind of illustrate what I'm showing here, we'll go here. That's the bus, train. So in here I can build a single rail track, a double rail track, and a station platform. The station platform is double railed. So right here, this is a station platform, and one thing that I learned is that the station platform really needs to be, well, you can see the length of the train there. If the station platform is shorter than the length of the train, it will still work, but it doesn't look very good. The train kind of glitches out. They may have fixed that, but I just decided to make it big enough on this one. It does destroy a certain amount of residential space along this road, but that's okay. I've got plenty of space to expand outward to make up for it. So if you're building station platforms, make them big enough for the train. The other thing is that the transit is still, the game is still early access, so you can't fault anybody for having some glitches in there, and I don't. But be mindful. I would suggest once you decide to start creating transit, save often and save new versions. That way you can go back if you make a mistake. I've had trouble undoing mistakes I made. Like if I set up a station, I've had trouble removing it, and then you get some weird effects there. So anyway, sidebar suggestion there. So what I've got going here, this is a double rail track that goes underground. It's just one level underground, and then it comes up to a station platform. You can actually make the whole track a station platform, which is kind of what I did by accident on some of these sections on the northerly-most east-west lines. Those are the first ones I put down, and I didn't really feel like going back and undoing them, so I think like the whole section is actually a station platform, but it seems to work. The stops are evenly spaced, and then I have the north-south lines. They have stops that are more frequent. They're about every 5 small grid squares, and what ends up happening, you can see the white circles here. These are the coverage. So the way I understand this works is anybody, any person within the simulation that makes a decision to travel somewhere, if they are within this white zone, they can just teleport to the stop within this white area. And so what I've got here is everywhere here is white, and that means that basically the whole city is covered by transit here. And you can see, if I look at my stats here, you can see I've got more trips by transit at any given time than I do vehicles on the road. So that seems to be how it's working. Many more people are using the public transit than are driving. So I seem to have a pretty good coverage. The one section that didn't work out so well is the university. So because I have 2x2 grid squares surrounded by kind of a one-way network of roads, there wasn't really a good place to put a train station in the university. So what I did was I had this central north-south line ends here maybe a block or two before the university, and then I have a bus line, one that goes north and one that goes south, and picks up people throughout the university. This works, but I'm not super happy with it. You can see what happens here. There are a lot of people that, want to use the bus and the university. It makes sense. And the bus has a little bit of trouble keeping up with that. It seems to work. It doesn't back up too bad, but like you can see, there's a good number of buses that get stacked up at the stops, and they even out, and then it'll get stacked up at a different stop. It seems to work, but I do kind of wish I had allocated for a train stop in the university. That would really help out a lot. The trains, compared with buses, they load and unload much faster, and they can fit many more people. So you can see each train can fit 1,100 people on it. And let's go, if I can, just look how quickly it pulled those 50 people on compared with a bus. So here's 36 people. You can see it unloads much more slowly and then loads people much more slowly than the trains. So in terms of efficiency, moving people around, loading and unloading, the trains are just a whole different world compared with the buses. Now, maybe to give a little bit more illustration tutorial here, I can lay down some train track. Oh, the way I've done these crisscrosses is here we go. So the way this works, I don't actually go to two levels underground. This is all just one level underground. The train station platform is at ground level. Then it goes down to one floor underground, and it just makes a little jog to the west here to get underneath this platform. That way I don't have to go multiple levels underground. Everything, I don't have anything going more than one level underground at this city yet, and I think with the way I've designed things here, I won't need to. The car traffic, even if I go here to just the center of the city, you can see I don't have that much car traffic. This is really nothing compared to the other city designs I've had. So it is the trains have just drastically reduced the amount of car traffic. Now, I didn't put all the we'll call them my subway network here. I didn't have the whole subway network laid out from the start. So I've kind of been adding that on one by one. And to show you how I do that, I made a couple patterns. The blueprints for stuff underground don't seem to work very well. So I have these two sections here. This one is for my north-south, and this is for my east-west sections of track. I just have these here, and when I want to add to my subway network, I can just come out here and grab them. Do new blueprint. Make sure to click it. Okay, now I've got that, and I can go over here and add this in. So where this is the furthest one over, I will add this in here. Now there are houses up here, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. I have plenty of residential space to go. And you'll notice this is $114 million to put down just this one section. I have tons of cash at this point in the game. That's no problem. But when I first started this out, I was kind of bumping up against the budget, having to take out some loans to really get this underground subway the way I wanted it. So place that down. It's this one connecting to it. Here, here, here. Okay, that's as far as I want to go on that one. So now I just have this track. If I go to the view, you can see it doesn't actually have there's no trains on it yet. I have to create a new subway line, a new transit line to do this. So let's do that. Add transit line. This one is going to be the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be 6. My naming convention, this is going to be V for vertical. It's not really vertical. I switch back and forth between north, south, east, west, vertical, horizontal. Anyway, it makes sense to me. This is vertical, this is horizontal, so that's the first letter. So this is going to be V6W for 6 west. And this is my center line, and then everything here would be east. So it's going to be add a transit line. Going to make it this color, name it V6 west north. Okay. 30 minutes is fine. I've been kind of keeping an eye on the loading. I have reduced, I think, my east-west lines on the first two from the north. I've reduced those down to 20 minutes, I believe, because they were getting pretty loaded. But everything else is just 30 minutes and is not having a problem. So now I want to put down my stops. This is the north line, so we're going to start from the south. This is going to be our first stop. I don't know if you need to, but I placed the stop at the far end of the platform. That way, if you've lived anywhere, at least where I live, the subways stop at the furthest forward point of the platform. So we'll put that there, here, 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 here. Here. Okay, and then I use the so that I don't fat finger a click and place a stop somewhere. I use the F key to get out of that, and now I've got my V6WN line, and there's already people showing up on it. Very cool. When you're in the transit view, Each little circle here shows you a stop you've placed down, and that's the number of people waiting. So you'll see there's my train, the very first train on this line, picking people up. Very nice. Delivering them to their destinations. Okay. Now, as I've expanded the city outwards, I've been kind of expanding out this direction, along this edge, out this direction as well. I've needed to extend railway lines that were already there. So let's do that. I'm just going to do that to one of these just to show an example. So let's extend this line out here and then add the stops for them. So to do that, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to grab my template, call it blueprint. Go over here. Where am I? Does get a little bit jumpy when you get that zoomed out. Okay, so I want to put it right here. So now my stop is down. Now I need to connect the underground lines. So let's go to track, double rail, that's what I want. I want it -1 underground, and I want it, need to select this, otherwise it'll build a trench and not an underground tunnel. Now I just connect. Boom. Okay, so now my track is there. Now I need to add a stop to these two lines. So that is H1W and H1E. W is going west, or the direction I am thrusting the mouse cursor, and east would be this direction. So west, I need to add a stop to the very beginning. So I can scroll up here, I can select the space right before the first stop that's already on there. I can hit F, and then boom. I'll hit F again to get out of there so I don't mess anything up. And boom, I've added that stop. Now I can go to the eastbound line. The end is already selected. F, and boom. Now I've got a stop added to the end. Now, again, I try to be really careful with this because I have had to start cities over because I didn't save properly, and I placed down some transit stops and I couldn't get them to delete. So anyway, I know that they're continually improving that, but I would just say at this stage, do save often, and remember that it's early access and things are continuing to get better. So let's see, what else have I done here? I added some baseball fields into the industrial zones because they really cut down on pollution. You can see that effect here. The industrial, the office space, and just the high density everything tends to create a lot of pollution, which will drive down the property values. So you can throw some baseball fields in there, and that will cut down the pollution. There's some other things you could do as well, but that seemed to work, and it didn't take up too much of my industrial space. So I was pretty happy with that, how that worked. Okay, I guess last thing, we'll go back over to the building designer and I can show you a little bit of how I made these buildings that I am not the most happy with. Maybe we can make some changes and see them pop up here. So let's save a new version. Takes a second because it's gotten pretty big. Okay, we're good. Building designer, already saved. All right, here's another design I was messing with. Nothing to see here. So these are all the custom design. No, they're not. these are all the custom designs that I have either gotten from people on Discord or I have made myself. I put ZG for Zombie Burrito in all the ones I've made, so you can see how most of them are from other people. I've done not that many. So let's see. Taper Tower. That one is not too horrible. Taper Tower 2. This one is much cooler. I'm actually happy with that one. That one looks very cool. Where is the boring... It's 2x1 residential rectangle 52. That's it. Yep, here we go. See, it's just so boring. So maybe what could we do to make this a little more interesting? So first, I think let's make it just a teensy bit thinner in both directions. So maybe that'll give us a little more texture in the high density areas. So why 2 clicks? All right, 3 clicks. Okay, X, let's give it 3 clicks, but we're gonna move it back to make up for it. Okay, that's good. Now something on the roof. Could we add like I actually made a couple attempts at just building designer tutorials, and it was a lot of me going, wonder what could I do here, or like fumbling back and forth between Google Maps, Google Earth, looking at buildings, and what could look good here, and did not make great content. So that's why you find folks have not seen those videos. However, we'll just do this one quick and dirty, so to speak. All right, let's try to center that up. It's a little bit bigger. A lot of this too. A lot of let's fumble this back and forth, move the camera around. I want this center up. I know why. Because they are different orientations. So out of that, that's what I want. Okay, that's gonna have to work for that dimension. Now, can we get it centered up the other way? For the purposes of what I'm trying to do here and show, this is perfect. This is looks horrible, but maybe not unacceptable. Okay, we're gonna save this and see what happens. Save design. We're gonna save over that. That way when it reloads my city, it repopulates everywhere it had the very boring rectangle with this slightly less boring, but maybe makes you want to claw your eyes out a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see. I can always come back and fix it. So okay, let's return to the city. I already saved that. Now let's see, what have I done? Better? You know what? I don't know. I'll take it, I guess. Anyway, 826,000. Woo! Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hopefully I've shown something entertaining and educational for the purposes of learning NewCity. I will continue to make these videos. NewCity continues to improve. I highly encourage you to check it out. If you don't know where to get it, just Google NewCity. I'm sure it'll show up after you scroll past other unrelated searches. You can go to Steam, get it on early access. Definitely, if you get into it, check out the Discord. That's where a lot of these really cool building designs came from. However, I would say a lot of the really cool ones are just the NewCity dev team doing good work. Look at that thing. I have put quite a bit of time into building designs, and let me tell you, this, whoever made this, they spent some serious time making that, and it shows. It looks good. Hats off to them. Thank you. I'm really enjoying their work. With that, I'm Zombie Greedo. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, Han shop first.